I was wrong in doing what I did.
No, no, no! Are you listening?
One of my best friends, and I think I've mentioned this before, said that chess is jujitsu for the mind, and jujitsu is chess for the body. We see life as a chessboard. We often relate it. Now, everybody's chessboard is different, because the king, people usually associate themselves with that, or the queen, because of the name. But in actuality, who they are is a lot more complicated. I believe I see myself as a bishop or a knight. Now take off the name, and I'll explain why. Because the knight, he analyzes, sometimes a little hastily, goes out on the edge of the board as some kind of gambit, and it can be wrong. You usually don't move it there. But hey, it may work this time. And a bishop, because they're useful, but sometimes they go off in a cock direction, slanted, a little bit off the path. Still useful in that situation, but maybe not the best thing to attack something head on. The knight can come on strong, get all up in your business, maybe too much. So that's why I see myself as those pieces. People see pawns as a negative thing. People don't intentionally become pawns. But the people who are playing chess, they make them useful. They determine a use for them. The pawns, they can only move forward, but when they hit that roadblock, when they collide with another piece, unless they can go diagonally, in which case there's a fight, right? They have to attack something else, take something else, from the player. That's when they become really useful. That's when they feel like they're a strong piece. And pawns can be very strong. Make it to the other side of the board. Suddenly they become somebody that makes it can make it in all directions. Like at your job, when you finally get that promotion, and now you have freedom. Now you can guide things. You have a bigger impact on the overall game. It all comes down to the player, though. But we're not talking about the player right now. Sometimes I wonder if Lorne isn't a rook. And I know the rook is a strong piece, but let me explain. The rook, most of the time, it'll move forward, but then its attack is sideways. It can go backwards. It can cut off escape routes. Lorne likes to go sideways and backwards because, as we all know, he feels that's the best way to attack people, is to backpedal, gaslight. I don't think maybe he did move forward at one time. Maybe he was moving forward, and maybe he had a plan. Now, it wasn't a good one, and it was probably one step ahead. It would be easy to call Lorne a pawn, but there's a problem. The pawn can stop the advance of things coming down its lane. It can also conquer when it needs to. It can look at its surroundings and say, you know what? I don't have a lot of power. I don't have a lot of things. But I'm going to figure out a way to get what I want. Lorne could easily adopt that lifestyle and say, you know what? Maybe I am a pawn. Maybe I am that guy who just needs to keep moving forward until I can't move forward anymore, and then wait for my opportunity. Wait for the piece to come up on the diagonal. And I can take it then. I just have to formulate a strategy. But again, that's player level. We are talking about pieces. Maybe rook isn't the best comparison between Lorne Armstrong and a chess piece. You'd have to ask him a question. And the question I would ask Lorne is it better to be a hammer or a nail? See, the nail gets hit, but in the end, it holds everything together. The nail could get bent. You have to take a chance. The hammer, somebody else who's the hammer could be striking in a manner in which you end up crooked going in. Well, we all know Lorne's crooked. Maybe we'll call him Broken Nail from now on. Crooked, broken dink. Or do you want to be the hammer? The tool that starts it all. The one who begins the process of putting things together. Now the nail's going to hold it together. But the hammer's shiny and it's big and people hold on to it tightly and they find it more valuable because it can also remove the nails. I would love to find out which one of those items he thinks he is. And that's a question. It's a fun question. You can ask your kids that and hear their reasons, because kids will give you some great answers and some crazy answers. And some kids at first, you just have to get past the initial, well, the hammer because it hits the nail. And I think that's the answer we would get from Lorne. So the rook is a hammer. The rook can move straight and sideways and backwards. And it's powerful. Really, really powerful. Lorne's life right now, he lives in a little bubble. He could move forward. He keeps moving sideways, moving backwards. He has nothing going on in his life that would prevent. He has no kids. And the kids, let's be real, can keep parents from moving forward in the direction they want to go. That's why we sometimes become bishops. We still attack life, but we got to deal with the challenges our kids are facing, our spouse is facing, our sub, our dom, to borrow, I believe, a term from Vex. But we attack. I don't mean physically or mentally or abusive. We attack. Now, if you said the word attack to Lorne, he's going to think of fighting and confrontation. Sometimes I think Lorne is a pawn, and he just wants to stay on level 1. He just wants to stay in his starting position. If the player said e2 to e4, Lorne's going to just stay right there. There's not going to be a king's pawn opening. Or he's going to be the pawn on the left side of the board who moves forward one space. Because, yes, it doesn't appear that you're taking a risk, but it's catastrophic for the entire game. Lorne would hear knight and assume he's a knight. He's a hero. He's the conquering hero. He's the chivalrous damsel in distress, rescuing, crooked, broken dink master of the world. The sad truth is that Lorne could be a bishop. Lorne could be, if he surrounded himself with people that would help him move forward. I'm going to briefly mention a video I will be doing later, how Lorne, he doesn't really want to meet up with any of these women. He doesn't. He likes the idea. He likes the joy, the giddiness of telling people, they're coming out, they're coming out. There were a couple times he was excited when he thought he was getting a sex toy. And again, Lorne would be the first human being in history that a sex toy broke up with and left. He doesn't want to put in the effort. So he would have to have somebody saying, Lorne, they're coming out. You better be ready. Oh, okay, I'll get ready. If a woman says she's coming out and Lorne doesn't have to do any work, that's perfectly fine. He's lazy. He doesn't want to do that work. He wants to be told, you have to do that work or there are going to be consequences. Well, guess I better do it. We all know that. We know that he's lazy. We know he doesn't care about his self-image. He doesn't care about his own health. He doesn't care about much. He has to know he has mental issues and he won't move forward. So he could be a bishop because he doesn't make the right decisions. But if people said, because we know Lorne likes to know and not learn, if people said, look, Lorne, this is where you need to go. When you get in the military, pick this AOS or MOS, whatever it is. Pick this. That'll be a good fit for you, Lorne. Well, I don't really want to do that. I want to do this. And a lot of us, we see ourselves acting. We see ourselves as the lead. Steve Kerr said something brilliant, and John Paxson, how they knew they were going to be utility players. So when they got the ball, they had to make it count. They weren't going to get a lot of chances with Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and Michael Jordan, and all these scorers that are on that Horace Grant. They knew they were going to be utility players, so they had to make it count. Lorne's not going to get a lot of opportunities. So when he gets handed the ball, he needs to make it count. And that's a cold fact about Lorne Lynn Armstrong. He needs to make it count. If he's a player of chess, he needs to have the opening move. He's always on defense. Now, I like playing the black pieces. I find defense fascinating. I feel like you're one move behind. You have to figure out what's going on. In life, I don't necessarily like to be on defense. I hate it. I hate the feeling that you're being attacked. Imagine choosing to play the black pieces all of your life and thinking that being attacked is the way to go. I didn't want to play the chess game. I just didn't have any choice. I'm sitting at the other end of the board and somebody made an opening move coming at me. So I had to hit the Benoni defense. He wouldn't even know, what am I saying? He wouldn't even know what any of that crap is. But as a player, Lorne would choose the black pieces. He would see pieces because of their name, because he wants to know that, Lorne, this pawn is the most powerful piece in the game. Oh, okay. And he'd move every pawn up to the middle. And he would lose. He would lose the game. You told me the pawns were powerful pieces. Lorne, you should have gone, and this is in the other video, you should have gone and read about it, my man. Because Lorne likes to sit back and wait for somebody else to initiate things, because Lorne wants somebody else to tell him to do something, he likes those black pieces. He has to start the game then. Probation and parole, he has to play the game. The judge, he has to play the game. He doesn't play it well. He still falls for catfish women. Here's what I say about that. Lorne, if you know that these women or men are using voice changers, dude, eventually you would have to assume that one of them could be underage. If I'm Lorne Armstrong and I have as many of us out here as there are right now, people who would love the opportunity to be a part of a troll job on him, maybe not talking, but maybe formulating a plan and scheming, using what we know, getting him to admit things with clever words. Shin's Koala would be an absolute nightmare. Corn Grill three-way nightmare / nightmare for him. Eel, Evil Little McNuggets, Allison Marie. I could just list the entire chat who spit out nothing but facts and things that will blow his brain every time I'm able to go into a stream. And I have a good time there. You know, I'm not always responded to, kind of invisible. But you know what? That's awesome. I'm a utility player. I'm not Michael Jordan or Scottie Pippen. But I get to sit back and I get to read all of those comments and laugh my ass off. I think Lorne, he just couldn't handle it. If I'm him and I'm thinking strategically, I'm like, you know what? One of these pieces could move onto my side of the board and they're going to be underage and they're going to be using a voice changer because there are people out there who hate this man so much they might pull it on him. How's it going to look after Lorne is told not to talk to these catfish women because it could be underage? He's been told that all of these years, and finally one of them is underage. He would not blame himself. He would blame the catfish. Well, they told me they were of age. Lorne, if this was a game of chess and I told you, okay, Lorne, I'm gonna play this opening and then I'm gonna attack you this way. And he never looked at the board. He just kept moving his pieces with his eyes closed to the squares you're supposed to play, to the squares he thinks he's supposed to play when that happens, without even looking at the attack. I mean, that's Lorne, a disaster, as always. So he really is one of the dumbest people on the planet to just assume that he's going, like we haven't evolved. Look at how these catfish women have evolved. Look how complex, how slick. Just look how slick they've become. And look at him, still falling for the same things, assuming nothing's evolved, still talking about the internet as chat rooms, and the only reason you go on the internet is to meet people. I'm barely on social media. I usually watch YouTube, or I'm researching something, or I'm reading. I'm not on there for chat rooms, but Lorne is still stuck there. So imagine where his mind is when it comes to catfish and technology. Knowing that people could use a voice changer. Knowing that you could be entrapped at any moment admitting something. just knowing all of that, because eventually a liar will out themselves, as Lorne does all the time. Come out to Maine, it's great, there's a lot of money out here. I'm broke and I'm living in my trailer and I'm borrowing money off my mom, but god dang boy, there's a lot of money out here. Come on down, get you some. He's so easily diverted and controllable. He's the rook. You can get him from one side of the board to the other sideways so easily. Mr. Horizontal and Mr. Backwards. It doesn't take much to bait him. It doesn't take much to confuse him. I mean, Lorne would probably try to move his piece diagonally, even though it's not allowed to go that way on the board. I mean, that's probably the best way to explain it. Illegal move. Disqualified. If Lorne was playing a game of chess, he would have gotten up and stormed off more times than we can count. He would have been disqualified, which is basically doing something illegal, legitimately, in the game of chess. It's against the rules, but Lorne's going to do it anyway. Lorne, if he was a player, would be walking up to the chessboard that is a catfish with a blindfold on, not paying attention, not caring whether or not his opponent is the same skill level as he is, because Lorne is on level 1. He's in the tutorial. You'd have to be someone learning the game. He's on the bunny slope, skiing. And I have no doubt if he really did ski, he would not, if he eats a french fries, he wouldn't even have gotten that down. At some point, we all learn how the pieces move. We all learn how society works. We know that sometimes it's not fair, and we start off with less pieces than the other person, or our pieces are in the incorrect places. And we then have to we're already behind, because we have to move those pieces back to where they belong. Meanwhile, the other side is moving forward. We're always at a disadvantage. And even when we have the advantage, we may have it over a few people, but someone else has the advantage. It's just the way it is. There's always someone tougher than you out there, no matter how much of a badass you think you are. In Lorne's case, everybody is, females included. And that's not being sexist. I'm just telling Lorne, like, those women you call weak and you think are nothing but play toys could destroy you. Rah. I want to make a supercut of Lorne Armstrong and the Catfish women as the My Way promo from WrestleMania 17. You think you're special? You do. And it's going back and forth. Yeah, this time and I just want to make it. I think it would be hilarious. Except with Lorne, it'd be kind of sad to hear his responses to stuff. Still, one of his greatest responses to Ramona: Lorne, if my grandmother did this, or your mother did this, would she want you? And then, well, if you were a guy, your grandmother saw me as a baby, and I was in a rocket ship, and I crashed in Kansas, would I be Batman? I mean, that's basically what I hear from him all of the time. His mental capacity, his verbal skills are terrible. His mental capacity, he's still on 1 megabyte, and the rest of us, we're on 1 terabyte. He has not progressed. He hasn't moved forward. If you looked at his chessboard, there might be dust on it. There might be dust, because in Lorne's head, well, I already know how the pieces move. Yeah, but Lorne, do you know where to move them, buddy? Do you know how to win the game? No one's taught you how to win the game. I mean, you must be moving those pieces forward and backwards, back to their starting position. You know people like that. They move forward, and then they'll start all over. They want a clean slate. Hell, I did it once with my YouTube channel, when I was getting millions of views with those remixes. I didn't want to do them anymore, and I didn't want my channel to be known as a remix channel, because I didn't want YouTube to assume that every time I uploaded a video, it was going to be a copyright strike. I would have to dispute it. I would win, but it takes so much time to get that done. It really does. But that's Lorne. He abandoned his YouTube channel, something he thought was going to make him a lot of money, make him famous. Now, there are reasons he abandoned it. We know this. But Lorne does what he wants. And he didn't get that fame. He only got infamy and trolled and made fun of. So, well, I guess I better start over. Lorne's the kind of guy that thinks moving to Rumble or streaming on Twitch is going to cure everything. It's going to save his life, dude. He may as well have tipped his king over when he started that YouTube channel, because it was game over. When you have never won a game of chess, playing it is a daunting task. It really is. You don't even know what winning feels like. So if you get one win, you lose your mind. No matter if it's a small win or not, you probably go crazy. Yeah, it's incredible. I've peaked. I finally won a game. He wouldn't understand that he just got out of the tutorial level and hit level 1. He would think he thinks he completed the game. And I think right now he feels like he's completed the game of life. He's the victor. And it's kind of sad if you actually think about it. The man's not even on the same board. I've mentioned that before, and I know I've used chess as an analogy before, but it's true. I hope eventually he understands that you can have those little wins, those little gains, and it can make life feel great. It can give you purpose. It can give you meaning, give you new goals to set and just shoot for the moon, but have a plan. Have an opening in your chess game. You can't just start moving pieces, but that's what he does. So Lorne, if you ever hear this, make those changes, man. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah,